Hey everybody, Questwise here, and today we're going to talk about kind of a first impressions video. Both of these products I have here today, both role-playing products. I'm just going to kind of give you my first impressions on both of them, kind of fairly new to me. Yeah, let's jump right into this. The first one I want to talk about is 13th Age role-playing game. This is put out by Pelgrane Press, and while this isn't extremely new to me, I have never brought it to the table yet. And I had just saw this in the local game store one day, and it was marked down a little bit because the corners were damaged. Looks like somebody had dropped it, maybe either in shipping or at the store. But they marked it down a little bit. I thought, I'm going to give it a try, give whatever. And when I got it home, I realized that there are two very big name game designers that worked on this product, put this product together. Rob Heinsoe, I apologize if I pronounce your last name wrong, and Jonathan Tweet, both involved in things like Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition and 4th edition. And that's what this book feels like. What's really interesting about this book, and again, I've read through it several times, and it's very, very intriguing to me, but I have yet to actually take it to the table. But what's interesting about this book is that throughout the book, they talk about each of these major designers here. They talk about why they did the things that they've done, why they've brought the ideas to this book that they did, and from their perspective, different perspectives on game design. And what they've done is they've brought all the great stuff from 3rd edition and all the great stuff from 4th edition and put it together in this one book with a bunch of other really, really great ideas. It is a D20 system, so if you're familiar with if you're familiar with D&D at all, you'll be very familiar with this game. They add a few other interesting things like icons, which are major NPCs in the area. They're almost godlike status in some of the areas that you can align with. You can be part of that sort of faction, if you will, and in doing so, you gain certain benefits from being part of that faction, and certain allies from being part of that faction, as well as enemies from opposing factions and stuff as well, which is kind of interesting. I also like some of the ideas that they have on combat, and ways that they sped up combat by adding a escalation die during combat. That at the beginning of second turn of combat, this die begins to go up in number, and you as PCs begin to gain whatever number that die is at as a bonus to your attack rolls, and so it makes combat go a little faster. You don't get into these big slug fests like you used to in 3rd and 4th edition. I like the idea that one of the greatest things I found about 4th edition. In 4th edition, a lot of people complain that it was very miniature-centric, and that it was too much of a miniature-type board game. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're into tactical role-playing, then it wasn't such a bad deal. It wasn't such a bad game. And in fact, I enjoyed it very much, and ran several games at the local stores for Wizards of the Coast itself. What they brought over from 4th edition to this, and I called 4th edition the plug-and-play edition because it was easy to build the characters. There was not a lot of choices you had. You had a few different choices at each level you can make. You grabbed one, you plugged it in, boom, you're ready to go. While they give you many, many more choices in here, and character generation is a lot more flexible in here, so you get a lot of the flexibility of 3rd edition with the plug-and-play ability of 4th edition, which is really, really nice. So a lot of different options, but you just simply grab one of them, you plug it into your character, and you're ready to go. You're ready to get back on the thing. The other thing that's kind of nice about this is a very heroic type of a role-playing game. Characters aren't meant to die from random goblins, jumping out and slicing their Achilles tendons, that one lucky D20 that they roll. So characters aren't necessarily taken out by mooks in the game, the low-level thugs and stuff in the game. They're simply knocked out of the action until the end of that scene, at which point you can recover at that point too. it's what it's about is telling big epic stories of fantasy and heroicism, and really, really great stuff. So if you're ever interested in sort of the epic tier, heroic role playing, this is the game for you, and it's very, very cool. It's got some amazing artwork. The layout is very beautifully done. Show you a quick page here. Here's the Paladin. Very nice layout. Very, very nice book. Full color, glossy pages throughout. Great artwork again and stuff as well. The Gold Dragon. Beautiful maps in there as well too of the world. It does have a kind of a built-in world setting. The other thing I found fascinating about this game is I didn't really hear much about it until I got on the internet, and I found that on Facebook and Google Plus and other places on there, there's a very, very loyal, very strong following for this game, and there's lots of products out for this game as well too. You might not just see it at your normal, friendly local game store, but check out their website. Lots of great stuff there. Get stuff from them directly and enjoy that. So the second one I want to talk about today. This is the newest addition to my role-playing book family, and this is put out by Kobold Press, is the Tome of Beasts for 5th edition. This thing is gigantic. It is huge. There's over 400 new monsters and stuff in here, and some really, really amazing monsters. I've always been kind of a fan of collecting creatures, as it is. I love to have new creatures, new encounters to throw at my characters, or at my players, that they might not expect. You get people who play D&D for a long time, you fall into those same tropes of, your first level, you're going to be fighting kobolds, you're going to be fighting goblins, you're going to be fighting, peons. I love to find new things to sort of challenge my players, things that are outside of the ordinary. It gets them excited about fighting and things again, not just knowing that they're slugging through the same old things. Now, 5th edition changed that quite a bit, in that it threw in the idea of big monsters having layers and layer abilities, and that they're more powerful and they have different abilities while they're fighting in their sort of home territory. They incorporate into this as well too. I haven't read through every creature in here, but I have had a really great quick flip through, and they do attach a lot of these creatures with layer abilities and stuff as well too. There's also creatures in here, certain dragons, different types of twists on normal monsters that you would see other places as well. But for the most part, everything's brand new in here. The other thing I find really great about 5th edition is they've also taken that sort of one step further with the creatures and given them, in the book about monsters, that they've done they've given twists to the beasts, some of the villains that you can fight. So it's not the same old kind of slugfest every time you get into a fight. This book is beautiful. Now, this is written by quite a few different people. Chris Harris, Dan Dillon, Rodrigo Garcia Carmona. I apologize if I've slaughtered any of your names, but most notably Wolfgang Bauer. Wolfgang has been around and is a name that should be pretty well known if you've been in the hobby for any period of time. He actually does the introduction to this book as well too. But the book blows me away. The pages are they're sort of a parchment type paper. They're not glossy. But there is just some beautiful, let me see if I can find something super, they're all super awesome, but, here's a wind dragon. So again, a different take on different types of different types of creatures and stuff as well. All the pages are very well laid out. It gives you tactics in the corner down here. It talks about how they would fight, different ways that you can encounter them. Several of these some of the bigger monsters have layer abilities. Here's a whole page on subterranean lords, an owl harpy, and this is an amazing book. I'm really glad that I added this to my library, because I like to collect and catalog and keep a whole list of new encounters for my players to have. So, short video today. Just want to do a first impressions. Have a new video up for you in a couple days on a little unboxing about something I got coming in very, very soon. But until then, I'm Questwise, and we're out.